Hey guys, so this is going to be the video where I follow up on the Andu Engraver. I've had it for about 2 years and I'm just going to tell you how it's working so far. Spoiler alert, it's basically the same as out of the box, so it's a pretty good tool. Honestly, there's not a whole lot that can go wrong with this. I will show you how this works. Like, I'll take it apart and show you the one moving piece in it. And I'm also going to be answering some questions from the comments directly, and hopefully this helps those people and anyone in the future who's looking to possibly use this tool. So the first comment is, how is the performance of the graver after a year of use? Well, I just told you, it's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it at all. It works exactly the same as the day I got it a couple of years ago. All right, next one. Where can I buy this, please? Well, you're gonna have to ask him, unfortunately. I'm not really super comfortable talking about it because I don't have all the details and it's not really my business. So the story that I understand is that Andu got sued by Steve Lindsay, and the reason for it simply, I think, and according to An, the owner, who I speak to frequently, is that it was about the palm control wording that An used in his Etsy listing. Fair enough, that is a Steve Lindsay term. Whether or not the actual mechanics of the palm control thing are the same, I don't know. I've never used one of Steve's, I've never taken it apart, I have no idea. But I have a feeling that there's going to be some slight difference. I mean, An is not copying these things directly, to the best of my knowledge, and the tools are working great. I think he's just designing something based on his experience, some trial and error, some knowledge, things like that. That's my understanding. Where can you get it? Ask An. I'm pretty sure he's still selling them. Are you selling these? Personally, no, obviously. All right, next comment. Great video and great work. Thank you for the video. Are you able to work with most types of metals? How well does it work with non-metals such as wood, bone, and plastics? That's a very good question. I don't really engrave wood, bone, or plastics, so I wouldn't really know. For plastics, probably the best out of the three mentioned. Just based on, I mean, it really depends on the plastic. Obviously, I have no idea what kind you're thinking of. For wood, I don't think it would work at all. The graver itself, I've got some right here. They have very specific geometry, and I mean, I've seen wood chisels before. The geometries are not the same, so I have a feeling that they would not work very well. On bone, it's basically scrimshaw that you want to look into. I don't know, I've never done it. I've carved bone, but not like that. I was using diamond tools and like rotary stuff, Dremels, so it wasn't the same. I don't see why it wouldn't work, but you're really gonna have to do trial and error. Like, different graver geometry could mean all the difference. I'm not really sure. As for metals, obviously that's what it's designed for. With my machine, personally, I have engraved 1080 steel, high carbon steel. That was my first knife that I ever forged, and I've also engraved annealed sterling silver. So all you really have to do with this machine is dial up the PSI, and it will just hammer through pretty much anything that you can put in front of it. I haven't used any on gold, however I've heard that it can be problematic. Some of the harder, like 14 karat, some of them are very, very difficult to get through. And there's been a few conversations that An and I have had about him redesigning the tool. So he doesn't really have model numbers, so this is the foot pedal version. I believe he's trying to make one with a longer barrel and a bigger piston, and that will essentially have more oomph, so you could use that for motorcycle parts or gold, as mentioned, things like that. I am a jeweler and I am thinking of buying the Andu setup. Do you think the machine would suit me for grain setting and as a hammer for bezel setting? Very good question. Stone setting is probably the one thing that I'm not too comfortable with yet. Not for any particular reason. Like, I understand the concept. It's just something I don't have experience with, and it kind of scares me. The couple of times I've tried, I did make these two pushers. This one is steel, it's polished end, and this one's bronze. And I didn't have great success with it. Mind you, I wasn't trying too hard. And seeing as how I've got the flex shaft here, I probably will just end up getting the H13 handpiece, which is pretty standard for stone setting, like bezels particularly. The theory is there, but my experience says no. Is this engraver suitable for jewelry engraving and engraving very fine lines? Yeah, you just have to alter the engraver geometry. Start with something very narrow, and yeah, absolutely. Where did you get the templates for your engraver sharpeners? I made them. I did buy this, the fixture itself, but the actual plexi templates I made my own. So I went in Adobe Illustrator and I whipped out some line art. I think it was 1 pixel vectors, so they're infinitely scalable, and I sent them off to be laser cut in 1/4 inch plexi. And I've got a whole pile of them here, different angles and whatnot. I'm not going to be offering these for sale, or I'm not going to give away my designs. I don't know if they're like how they would stack up to a Steve Lindsay tool, but I think that the concept is so close. Even if I'm not directly copying, it's close enough that I'm not going to get into this whole legal possibility shenanigans stuff. It's not worth it. All right, next question. What is the rotating assembly for engraving called? I don't really know what you're talking about. Are you referring to the sharpening system, or are you referring to the block vise? The sharpening system I'm using are these diamond lap wheels. So this one's 100 grit, and this one's 3000 grit. And I know that's a bit of a jump. I need to get some more to do proper polishing, but it works for now, because the only real part that needs to be polished are the heels and the face, which are actually the things making the cut. The rest of the geometry doesn't have to be too accurate, or not accurate, polished, that is. And then what I do is I'll put these in this little arbor, and this is kind of like a quick change arbor. It's made of aluminum. On sent me this, and come on, basically that sits in there. This goes into a drill press. The platter of the drill press I set to the right height, so there's a 1/2 inch gap in between, and then you use the template like this on there, and that just sets up your geometry. It's very simple. If you're referring to the block vise, which is down here, this one I got from Guesswin. Guesswin marketed it as the Guesswin block, but I know it's not. It's also sold by Autofray, same company. It's Indian made, so some people don't really like that. But honestly, I don't think this is such a bad tool. It was $250. It came with the accessories that came with it. The GRS one, as far as I understand, does not come with the accessories included with the block itself. So that's an extra cost. And they're pretty much identical. But there's quite a few things in here, like this one can hold coins. There's some little grooves in here. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera. And then there's a bunch of other pins and things in there. This vise I think is actually larger than the middle range GRS one. I think this one weighs 25 pounds. The GRS one I think is 20, and this is I think 5-inch diameter. I'm not sure about the GRS one. Now that said, I've never used a GRS product, so comparison-wise, I guarantee it's probably better, but price-wise, I just not on board. I've seen a lot of them used, but they're always in the States, and I mean here in Canada, there's literally nowhere to go to learn engraving, so I'm teaching myself, trial and error, YouTube, things like that, and yeah, so you got to get what you can get up here. It's just how it is. For anyone in the States, though, I guarantee you'll find a better deal than what I have. All right, and the last question that I'm going to kind of summarize, I'm not going to answer a specific person, is about the setup as an entirety. I'm going to pick up the camera in a second. I'll show you exactly how this works. It's very simple. Literally, when you buy this kit, you just need an air compressor and a hose, and that's about it. So once again, I'm going to apologize for the poor lighting. We're not exactly in a studio lit area. So this is the Canadian Tire brand Maximum Whisper Tech air compressor that I bought. I think it was $200, nothing too fancy. There are other ones like the California Air one that are absolutely silent, and that would be great. But this one I needed to get, a little bit quicker than whatever I could order that one for. And it works. So I just got a standard quick disconnect air hose here, and then that kind of loops around and comes up. And I'm just going to shift. And then that gets plugged into the regulator right there via another quick disconnect. And then this is how you set your pressure. And this is a preliminary humidity controller. So you just push this up and that'll kind of release some air. And that just kind of, cleans the air as it goes out so that you don't get the condensation going down the hoses into the steel tube, causing rust, causing problems. So yeah, if you can get more of these in the line, the better. It really is better. But anyway, so this actually all came pre-assembled out of the box from On. So this is called the, what did he call this? This is like a trickle of air. You can adjust how much it comes out. And essentially what that does is it just keeps the piston in the machine or in the graver running so that it's humming. It's always ready to go. And it just makes it like a faster pickup so that as soon as you hit the pedal, it just wants to go already. It doesn't have to spool up, kind of. I'm going to demonstrate this in a sec. But anyway, so there's the air hoses. There's the pedal itself. Push that down. And then this one, you see it's a little bit dirty. This one gets plugged into the graver, or engraver. Let me just put the camera down and we'll do a quick little demo. Alright, so as promised, this is the tool, and I'm going to take it apart just to show you how it works. This top piece, this is just the palm push thing. This is one of the optional ones that On sells. This is aluminum. I've given it a brushed finish just to cover up all the scratches. Aluminum doesn't really stay perfectly polished for very long. And then this is the tube, and out pops the piston. The piston is a hardened tool steel. I believe On told me it was 01, so it's probably, I've worked with 01 with knives, and it's incredibly good stuff. So after 2 years of wear, it's got a couple little tiny marks on it, but no rust. It doesn't even really have any hammer marks on the actual impact surface. So yeah, it's very simple. And then it's just a hollow tube, stainless tube. And you're not going to be able to see it very well in there, but there's a Teflon sleeve so that when this goes back in, there's such a perfect fit that it's not 100% airtight, but it's really, really close. And that just hugs the piston. So put this back on. There's the inlet valve right there. This is the adjustment ring. And this is literally just a steel ring. So when you put this in, this is the quick change. This is proprietary. On makes these, and you have to buy them. I think you get 3 with the kit, and he sells them in packs of 5 after that. I strongly recommend getting them. I've got a bunch of them here, and I actually have a few gravers that don't have homes yet, so I've had to switch out, but no biggie. Anyway, so this ring will just push the quick change out. Sorry, lighting. Will push the quick change out, and that basically just adjusts your stroke. The stroke is how far the piston has to travel. So if you want a long stroke, it'll kind of look like that old hammer chisel style. So it'll have like the little
tick marks as it goes through, or you can have a very fine stroke and bring this all the way back, and then it'll look just like a seamless bright line as it cuts. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We're going to connect the air, and I'm going to do a couple little quick doodles on this pad. And then I've got another design on the back side, and I'm going to be using the Steve Lindsay official one, because if you recall, I'm not going to be giving away mine. So this will be something that you can replicate, you know, if you bought his. And I'm going to be using his 96-degree graver. Okay. Got this little piece of brass. This is jeweler's brass. I get these from Guesswin. Anyway, so here's a sparrow. We're going to try this. This was done, I just found this on Google Images, so I don't really, it's pretty standard. A lot of people have this on their bodies, so I don't know about copyright and crap like that. But we're gonna just grave this using the same graver, same 96, okay? And of course the camera decided to stop recording, so I am very sorry that we didn't get all the way through that in the video, but here's the final product. I'm gonna take some better photos of this and I'll put them in the video. But yeah, that's the tool. It works pretty well. I don't claim to be a master or anything at this. I'm just playing around, trying to save a little bit of dough, having some fun. So yeah, there's the bird, and there's the tool. And I hope I answered a few of the questions that might have been bugging a few people or hindering those who are considering buying this as an option.